Okay, so to start off with, just thought I'd introduce myself. My name's Luke. The trailer we made was the Dark Death trailer. I'm just going to tell you a bit about what we've got for question one. So the first question inside it was, what forms and conventions did you identify for your research? Start off with the way we found out about the plot and that we decided we looked past at some previous other horror genre trailers and gathered all the research from that, and then went for a plot, nailed some ideas down, on a mind map and went from there. We looked at stereotypical scenarios, so like what you'd expect, maybe knives, guns, blood, that sort of stuff in horror. We also looked at what the Todorov theory was about and decided to implement that into our trailer plot. And by doing that meant, we had a base to go with for the rest of the trailer. From this, we were able to plan a lot of plots together. I know myself, Ryan and Sophie, the other two group members, planned multiple plots each, and then we put our ideas together for the final plot. This made it a lot easier when coming to film it, plan it, sorry. It's because if we all had all our ideas together, we're all on the same page of how we want to do it, which made it a lot easier for us. So yep, anyway, moving on with the same question, talking about the genre next and how we managed to stereotype the genre. Start off with talk about we looked at some other horror trailers, like I said before, for the plot, and then managed to put into some ideas of how we could stereotype the genre. I touched on a little bit before, but that's one of the ways we looked at how we could convey the genre. We also asked a range of surveys and questionnaires to our classmates and also outside to see what their opinions was on the situation. So we have a wide variety of an audience, and they could then give us some help with what they'd expect to see in a typical horror genre convention. We tried to implement an unusual feeling for the audience, so when they're watching it, they weren't being scared straight away in the trailer. They feel built up suspense. That's what we used the music for, to help do that, which I'll touch on in a minute with the sound, and we built it up as the trailer went on. That was the idea of it all, was to try and make the viewer feel unusual and uncomfortable with when they're watching it. So anyway, like I said about the sound, the research we did for the sound was pretty much the same from looking at previous trailers and stereotyping what a typical sound would be. We used what the audience to sort of like the idea was building up a lot of suspense and see where I could go from there. Yeah, just from the surveys, basically, that's how we took the sound. How we gained our audience expectation is the next question. Is the next part of it, sorry. We asked again a lot of people about what they would believe would be inside of a horror genre, and typical thing: death, murders, blood, all that sort of thing come in it, and from that it just it made it a lot easier to us when planning it out of what we needed to include and how we could go about including it. Again, like I said, surveys and questionnaires, they helped out with that, but we also asked a few people to come and review some of the other trailers to see what they would do if they were in our situation, so then we could understand what they could do as well. Just another way of looking there, again, gathering research. The mise en scène, we looked again at the other trailers and see what the typical age range of people would be and what type of clothes they'd be in. It's usually teenagers from school dressed in typical teenage clothes, and the murderer usually in black, grey, and that's what we went for there. Blonde haired girls was a stereotype that we tried to implement, but all the actors we asked that were blonde, unfortunately couldn't match with our timetables to fit it in, and me after school we didn't have the right days to match due to other commitments such as work. Basically, just looking at the clothing was the overall mise-en-scène idea that we had, and the props such as a car, fast driveaways, you know, like I said, bringing the blood and that. We didn't actually manage to implement blood in the end, which I'll go to later on, but that's why. The editing that we also gathered the research from would have been quick cuts, you know, to build up suspense, all that sort of thing comes with the editing and the sound. Again, by researching trailers and asking the audience and what they believe the editing should be like, and that basically gives us a whole understanding of what kind of editing that we need. So we've included quick cuts, fades in, fades out, cross blurs, and all sorts of different transition effects in the editing to help it match what a stereotypical horror film would include. So that's all it is for the first part. So the second part of this was how the following features of your trailer, poster, film magazine, front cover, conventional or unconventional. Okay, so I've got a bit of notes written down here just to help me read through this. The overall design of the title sequence. So we designed titles to help make the film stand out. So by that we mean, with mine in particular, on the poster and the film, and I guess on the trailer, we wanted to make the colour fit with the background, the style of writing stand out to a stereotypical horror convention, and that's what we ended up doing with our trailers, posters and magazines. The fonts we chose all appealed to our audience when we asked them about what they said, so that's, in our opinion, was how we made it conventional. The images, again, I just want to read these notes. On the magazine we have a picture of the graveyard, on my magazine that is, a picture of the graveyard and 3 of the characters, which are going to be the brothers, standing over the grave. The whole idea of this picture was to show the audience about what is going to happen eventually at some point inside the film, so they could automatically grasp what it was about, because it's a graveyard straight away, and you can tell by the reaction of the 3 characters, or actors, sorry, that it was a sad day, and there was going to be more to the storyline than just that. The poster's a mid-shot, and it allows us to see the reaction of all 3 of the characters from the backs of them, so you can see their heads looking down, very upset with what's happened. So the camera angle inside of the poster and film magazine, I've got a close-up on the poster and of extreme close-up of the killer's face, and on the film magazine, like I said before, it's the 3 actors standing around the grave. Low angle on to show the killer look powerful, and a high angle on the 3 brothers to make them look weak, and just so the audience feels the power of the killer. Okay, so the next question we have here is, were there issues in your quest to change or to conform? Okay, so again, I have to read off the sheet just to give you an idea. The first subtitle was about the available technology to us. That would include cameras, the Macs that we had to edit with, the software inside the Macs, and I guess the ability of what props we used, which was I think I said camera, but also the car we had, which was technology. They were very, very important to our film, and the availability of them was interesting. But what I've written down here is good, because all the latest software and cameras produce better quality for the end product. This, also having the latest software, means you can do lots more things with the edits, the transitions, the cuts, all that sort of stuff, which helps out making our film trailer look good. However, though, the programs are still limited with what we could and couldn't do. By that I mean, with iMovie, it's a great program, but we wanted to add a rewind effect. We ended up doing that, but it's not as good as what it would be with different software if we could grasp the idea of that technology. So that's the available technology. The next little subheading we got here is the time management and organisation. Now, I believe our group's time management and organisation was very, very good. We hit every single deadline for when it was due, with everything, the poster, the magazine and the trailer. So I've got written down here, our time management organisation was very good. We hit all the deadlines, and also had all of our ideas ready for when we started filming. See, that's another part of good organisation and time management, because as soon as we got the ideas down, immediately we could go out and film. So our time management and organisation overall was very good, I believe, as a group. So the next subheading we got here is the practicalities of everything. So by that I mean the locations, of whether it was practical or not to film there, and stuff like that. So the one that stands out the most is the graveyards. It was awkward filming there with other people around, because they were obviously sad with the other graves. So we had to really use the location in the graveyard very carefully of how we did it. Unfortunately, my nan was buried in there, which meant we could use that graveyard, that grave, because we weren't using anyone else's, which made it practical enough for it. But like I said before, the practicality wasn't great, because some of our filming sessions got stopped because of people, saying it's like with the graves and that, and we couldn't include them in the film. So that is all of that for that part. The next part is, did you aim to conform or challenge conventions in your product? Give us examples. So I'm just going to read off the list of the conform here. So we aim to conform challenges by using stereotypes of horror movies, such as suspense music, mise-en-scène of characters, and jumpy scenes in the trailer. By jumpy scenes we mean like quick cuts and stuff like that to show the next bit of the scene. Stereotypes of the horror movie, the suspense music was that list there. That was, in my opinion, one of the key parts of this. I think that's what made our trailer very, very, can't think of the word now, but above the rest, maybe, in terms of given that was the star of the trailer, in my opinion. The mise-en-scène of the characters, again, how they acted, how they dressed, and everything about it was a typical horror genre convention. Also here for the conform, we made it so the music would gradually build up, drawing the attention to the viewer. Now this, obviously, like I said about suspense music, building it up the whole way through, and then in the end, bang, done. We also did this by not revealing too much to the viewer, so but we revealed enough that would attract their attention. So the next part of this, obviously, the challenge bit. We challenged conventions such as showing the faces of our murderer and kidnappers, and the people that were kidnapped. So that is something that you see in a lot of horrors. You see the kidnappers, the kidnappees, and the murderer all in trailers, and we wanted to follow that kind of path without revealing too much again. And also you can see the person who is kidnapped clearly in the trailer, so it does reveal a bit, but not enough to see the full story behind why he was kidnapped in the end. So that's about it for that part of the question. Move on to the next question like we have here. Are there any areas you could have improved in how conventional your work is? So again, I'm going to have to read off a bit of the sheet here. For trailer, we could have improved our trigger to make it more conventional for a horror trailer. We could have done this by having more time to make it fit more with a horror trailer. We can improve our trailer by using different camera shots and angles. This is something that we try to work on a lot, but obviously filming schedules cut short due to actors not being able to make it sometimes, and the practicalities of where we chose to film did make this quite hard to get a multiple variety of shots, but we did our best. We got a lot of shots in there, but it's a point we decided to make across was, we could have had a little bit more of them inside the trailer, which would have made it, maybe more horror-like, but, we did our best, and that's what we've got so far. For the film poster, again, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to read off the sheet here, it's quite a long paragraph. Could have added on our film poster darker font style that would go with a horror convention. See, that's talking off the basis of Sophie's and mine. Ryan's is different to that though, so I can't really speak for much on that one, but by having the darker font definitely makes it appeal more to the audience in our opinions. Another thing we could have done with our film posters and the magazines as well was if we had to do it again, we'd make it so in my personal opinion, I'd make it so there's different pictures. The only reason for that is because the direct address upon the magazine would help a lot more, and the film poster's quality of the picture could be a lot better than what it actually was. Talking again about the magazine, images could have been a better quality, and they could have showed dive to dress, which I did just talk about. And also for the film poster, you know, the imagery for the posters could have been better as well. You know, could have chosen better images, and maybe the subheadings, subtitles upon each of the poster and the magazine could have been a little bit better. But the next part of that is camera movements, and we could have had a more variety, like I spoke about before, and maybe added a pan. It's something that I would have liked to have added personally, but we just didn't have the equipment with us on the time when we decided to add it, unfortunately. So a lot of the other year groups were using the tripods, and we had one that couldn't actually be moved well enough for a pan, unfortunately. The sound effects and music, we could have chose a more variety of sound, I believe. We just got one main soundtrack and a voiceover. We'll talk about the narrative and narrator in a minute. But you know, we could have added more sound effects to make it more, you know, scary, that sort of thing. But yeah, anyway, the narrative was we got Ryan to do a speak over of about 4 different lines, small lines of kind of a verse to try and talk over what could happen from start to finish of the trailer, without giving away too much. And talking about what the characters could be more on, you know, back to the question of anywhere else you could have improved, like prevention workers. You know, I think we could have had more characters with more of the stereotype of the horror genre. And you know, the mise-en-scène again, you know, we could have made them more look like a stereotypical mise-en-scène for the horror genre itself. But unfortunately, we just didn't have that, due to actors being, you know, what they wanted to wear, kind of thing. And you know, that's what it's like sometimes with this kind of thing. So that's that done now.